So my name is Michuki Mwangi. I work for the Internet Society during the day. At night, I work for the Kenya Internet Exchange Point. And I have a huge interest in interconnection in Africa. Partly that drives me to want to see many exchange points exist in Africa, and also a lot of interconnection taking place in the region. So I'm going to go through some African peering updates, and then also talk about the role of peering coordinators from my point of view. And then I will later on invite Mark Tinker to build on the discussions of the peering coordinator with the peering database, and some of the jargons that peering coordinators need to understand. For today also, we will have all the presentations recorded, and then we're building a sort of a blog wiki, where a portal sort of where we can actually get to put these materials on, and future peering managers or coordinators can actually get to look at the materials we've discussed and presented here today. So we will share this with you once we put it up online. So where did the concept of the peering coordinators day come from? Sometimes in the past two years, ISOC has been trying to make an effort to sort of build exchange points in the region, or help with the building of exchange points in the region. And the ones that have been established, try to help them grow to the next level. And we've been facing challenges in that if you call for an exchange point, meeting for exchange points, what tends to happen is that you struggle to even get 5 exchange point operators show up. There are 22 exchange points which are operational, at least in Africa, and with those 2, when you only get 5 people showing up, it means there is a problem. I have tried in the past to try and get information from exchange points that exists, and out of the 22, the one time I was most successful, I only managed to get 11 responses. So that was like 50%, but that was after a persistent period of 3 months asking people to send me data. So we felt there is a problem, and tried to dig further into where the issue could be, or how can we actually help so that we get more responsive exchange points, and how do we get the region to be more active when it comes to issues of interconnection. So we realized we were probably taking the approach the wrong way, where we are going to the exchange points, because exchange points just provide a service. It's the people who should actually benefit from the service, the operators themselves, that actually need to be driving the growth of the exchange point. So we changed the strategy and felt we need to reach out more to the network operators and see if they are more aware of the value of interconnection. They will probably be able to push the exchange point to the next level, in that they will demand more services or better services and more functions, a more functional exchange point in their respective countries. So as a result, we did the first African Peering and Interconnection Forum. This is a forum that's targeted at the network operators, NRENs, all the NRENs, the regulators, people who stand to directly benefit from the existence of an exchange point. And the purpose of the African Peering and Interconnection Forum was first to try and create the technical capacity for people to understand the business aspects of peering and interconnection, and why it actually needs to happen in country and across the borders. So the first meeting was held in Nairobi in August 2010. It was organized by the ISP Association and the Kenya Internet Exchange Point. It was quite a successful meeting, with around about 120 people participating. 23 African countries were represented. So it was a good first start, and we hope to build on that. And what came out of that, we realized that during the presentations that were done, there was what we choose to call information asymmetry, where a lot of the people who came to the meeting, some of the terminologies we were using being used when it comes to interconnection, peering, the contracts negotiation, was an area where they were not fully well familiar with. And case experiences we've seen is that people network operators will actually buy capacity with the submarine cables coming in. They will get to London, and instead of peering in an exchange point in London, they get to London or Amsterdam and buy transit. Whereas they are able to peer, maybe 40% of their traffic, at just peering, just by peering at the nearest exchange point. So that prompted us to think through, and this is collectively a discussion between the people from the region. We work together with Afrinic and AFNOG and Mark Tinker, one of the other instructors at AFNOG. So we are trying to actually see how best to build this community to the next, to be able to understand the peering issues in general. So we thought that the Peering Coordinators Day, this being the inaugural meeting, we'll be able to do some tutorial style kind of sessions where we are able to share with you information that exists with relation to being to peering management, or rather to peering coordinators, how to go out and negotiate for contracts, how to understand your network better, what the role is all about. So so today is the first of many peering coordinators days that will happen in the future. We will try and make this event be a part of the AFNOG, because this is where the network engineers and the network administrators will come mainly for their training. So we'll try and make sure that this event continues to be hosted within AFNOG Afrinic meeting. And we will also try and put up a blog as a wiki with information, resource information, mostly from the Peering Coordinators Day, as well as others that we may be able to get. And also encourage you to join the mailing list. There is a mailing list that has been formed. The website is afpif.org, and there is a mailing list. So when you go to the website, there are the instructions to actually join the mailing list. So we hope to build on peering discussions to continue on this particular mailing list. Going forward, there will be the AFPIF2 meeting, which will take place on 8th and 9th of August. This time we are going to West Africa. So last year was East Africa. We are going to West Africa in Accra. For those of you who've seen the map of Africa and location of exchange points, you will see that often the West African part of Africa really doesn't have many exchange points. Just about 30% of the West African countries have exchange points. So it's a significantly smaller number compared to the sub-Saharan region. So we do hope to create some more discussions in that region with respect to interconnection and traffic exchange. So what's happening in Africa with regards to IXPs? Well, according to the information that was collected and analyzed, reported by PCH, Africa is still leading in terms of growth, percentage growth of traffic compared to the other regions in terms of traffic exchanged at the various exchange points. There are 22 exchange points. As you can see, the growth between the 1 year period is around about 136%. If we go into the detail of that, you will see that the countries that seem to be doing the most contribution on that, we see Kenya, Uganda, and South Africa. Interestingly, it's because of the presence of the Google cache in Kenya and Uganda. I'm particularly sure of that because the changes were very recent, that the traffic has been able to grow, from 100 megs to over 500 megabits per second at the KIXP, and the same thing for Uganda. South Africa also had similar impacts, and also there have been a few policy changes as well within the jinx that has helped it grow over the last 2 years to exchanging almost 2 gig of traffic. So that's all positive. I wish we could see that with the rest of the African countries. Now, one thing I need to mention about these statistics, it's only able to, PCH have only been able to get about, I think this is measurement across 11 exchange points, not all the 22. So we need to bring all the other exchange points online in terms of being able to provide their statistical data, which will give a much better impression, picture, or much clearer picture of what's happening really in the region when it comes to how much traffic is being exchanged. So this is good for in-country. I mean, for the 3 countries that are on this, and also a few others like Tanzania, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, that have functional exchange points. This is good to have. But the next phase of the challenge is that we don't interconnect within the region. What I observe, and my friend from Rwanda here, Eddie, and I have spent many years talking about this issue since the fiber came in 2009. One of the things that has happened is that a country like Rwanda, which is neighboring Uganda and is a landlocked country neighboring Uganda, and Uganda being a landlocked country neighboring Kenya, for them to get access to the submarine cables that came to the East African coast, they all have to go through Kenya. And the way Kenya is that from West Kenya to the coast, you have to pass through the capital, Nairobi. That's the way the cables go. They follow the railway line from Lake Victoria all the way down to Nairobi, then all the way down to Mombasa. And a packet from Rwanda coming to Nairobi will pass that path all the way past Nairobi to Mombasa, to London, and then come back to Nairobi. And this in itself is a challenge, because what it means is that for reasons such as submarine fiber cable cuts, I am not able to talk to Rwanda. I can't send an email to Rwanda because a submarine cable has been cut. Yet Rwanda is inland, it should continue working because they are inland. That infrastructure has not been affected. And the question is, why is that not happening? And my main opinion about this is that we are still applying the satellite routing policies in a post-satellite period. So you see a lot of traffic just taking the same routes that satellite routing used to do, because satellite was from your country or your ISP to London, and that's the same thing that continues to take place today. So we need to change this, because if you look at just this diagram that shows the map of Africa and the cables that are coming in or yet to come in, it shows that they are landing in almost every city or port city that is available, or on the east and west coast of Africa. So we should be able to at least be interconnected within the region without having to send all our traffic abroad. Question is, how are we going to be able to do this? And this is why we have this particular day, so that we make sure that within each and every organization there is somebody that is paying attention to this small detail. It may look like a small minor detail, but it is actually quite important, especially when it comes to the internet, because if the service is meant to grow, to develop, then we need to be able to route it in a more efficient way. So, is there really anything positive happening in this region? I'll say yes, and I'll use an example of KIXP. I happen to work there, so I took